Alright, hey everyone, welcome to yet another video, which is going to be the continuation of our vehicle design that I started working like a few days ago. Yeah, we had some additional stuff. We have some extra reference search and extra research in general, and I would like to share you guys with this. Share with you guys these and hopefully from there we can move on to the next phase, but this one is going to involve a bit of more sketching and a little bit more overall definition on how the vehicle might look like. Still, nothing is cast in stone, almost, but we will see in the very end. So let's jump in. Okay, so here we are. As you can see, we are on the Miro board right now. And as you can see, if you compare it with the initial video that we made about this, we have more stuff. Just because I just wanted to lay down the elements, or design elements there, just to see how the lines might look like, how they might translate from our initial reference search, which included some fighter jets, like stealth fighters, some stone like structure which is like has a lot of like edges and like lots of cuts and stuff. It's like it's quite organic when you think about it, because it's stone but still like feel it's literal hard surface, you know. So I just wanted to see how they actually translate in the actual world, and how they actually translate in the designs that we especially lately start seeing out there. Just because, like, for example, the car manufacturers are going for something very aggressive lately in terms of design language, and it also brings a lot of like uniqueness in their designs. That doesn't mean that we are going to directly copy and paste this, but we can get some inspiration out of this, which things actually how things actually work, and it's not a bad thing, and you shouldn't blame yourself if you're doing this. So yeah, I don't know if there is like much to explain over here. I think the visuals kind of explain themselves. Like, as you can see, we have our like stealth fighter here, which I like the triangular shapes there. Of course they are there for some reason, but we're not going to use that reasoning in our design. At least so far I didn't think about doing that. But as you can see, like all those edgy look, like 90 degree angles, like if you look at it this way, or like 120 degree angles here and there, are actually resembling this shape, and like the way that it actually translates, and like how the shapes go inside each other, and how they create this like very aggressive but reliable look, which is something that I want to also translate in my design. I mean, this also is another option that we can go with. It's still rounded, it has some round corners, and has some like creases, but also like smoothens up in some areas. That's something that I also would like to explore a little bit as well. It's still aggressive, but also I think the reliability part and the friendliness part of the design is slightly higher than the aggressive look, which I love the Volvos. Perhaps that's why I actually chose this, but yeah, still. This also is like a how can I say, like an option, not an option, but still something that I would like to reference to as well, because it has a very beautiful rear design, like a rear tail lights, which I also would like to get inspired from when I'm designing the car. Moving on, as you can see, all those like very triangulated shapes on the shot lines or on the canopy are something that I would like to implement in the design. These were the sketches that I made in the previous week, on the previous video actually. As you can see, you can see all the process that just we went through while designing this. As an extra, I also started doing some research on how we can implement mobility, power, how the car is going to be powered with, and how it's going to be adapted in the environment, because I wanted to be used in very rough landscapes. But over time I also thought that maybe it could be an unmanned vehicle which would have a lot of trunk space, or some like payload distribution, so that you can like put your stuff onto it and can just go from A to B and carry your stuff, just like carrying a cargo, for example, and stuff like that. All those decisions over here, all those decisions that have been made, still are not defined, at least from my side. If this was like a production, it will probably be done like way ahead. But for now, those options are open. Like I can still like change some of the materials that I was thinking about, or motor placement, or maybe I can even like change it to like a manned vehicle. Although right now I'm more leaned on to the autonomous payload carrier. So yeah, all those like small decisions on this mind map are going to affect somehow our design. You might not be able to see it directly, but it will help us to put stuff together in the get-go, when we are about to especially start thinking about the design in the 3D process, which would also include like having the engine placement, or how would I say, like power distribution, or the payload, for example. How are we going to put those like trunk space? How are we going to distribute those bars in the car that directly affects the design? Also, that also affects the amount of weight that is going to be put on the car, and which will also eventually affect how the car will look like when the payload is being loaded. And also, like, yeah, that we should also think the car not only by itself, without like just like an empty car, but with also how it will look like when we start adding all those like clutter on the vehicle. Eventually we might also design some cases and stuff that we can implement on the car, but still right now it's in our scope. We will think about that later. I'm not going to go through this like thoroughly, but I will share the mirror board eventually with you guys, so you can also have a look at it. But yeah, let's jump into the recording that I made. This is the process that I took from Gravity Sketch and put it onto Vizcom, and there's a lot of back and forth between. I'm not going to dive into Vizcom that much for now, but we can do like a very quick video out of it eventually. But I think overall this video can give you some idea on how I actually use it in my process without relying on it too much, but dictating how I would like to shape my design, but also use its suggestions as I shape the design overall. As you can see here, I have put the initial sketch that I made on Graph Sketch, and I put everything together. Those are first iterations. Just right out of the bat, I just stacked up some selections that I have had from Vizcom, and I copied and pasted them over to the Photoshop so that I could have something to work on, you know. But nothing is like defined here. Imagine it like a photo bashing process. Photo bashing sketch actually. It's like speed painting, but with photo bashing actually. Here I start thinking about like how the body will look like and how I can make the lines go inside each other, or how I can like have very pretty much defined like a line on the body, like a shoulder line and stuff. There's a lot of like still like I'm trying to figure out how the shapes might look like and how I can balance them out together, because there is like two parts of the body. Like there's the body itself, and there's also the lower part which will have the axle and stuff, axle drivetrain and stuff like that. Also I will probably add the powertrain below, like the electrical engine and stuff. Also I was thinking about that, having like an additional hydrogen how can I say, like hydrogen cells, so it could also consume that energy as it also recharges the electrical battery under difficult conditions. As you can see, I also still use the references that I have. There's a whole bunch of like decision going on here, like how I can like squash and stretch. Maybe I can bring out some interesting parts from the vehicle. I already knew that I was not going to make it like a manned vehicle, so the part above doesn't really make sense, at least for now. So I'm just grabbing that piece, but still keeping this like ear shape in the back, so it can have this like dangerous look to it. Not dangerous, but wild, you know, just like a wild animal. Still, I would like it to the car, at least in this image, to look like something as like a wild animal on the land that just rushes through it. Also, I'm grabbing some parts from the references that I gathered, trying to see like how I can fit them, if I can fit them or not. As you can see, it will not fit here because it doesn't make any sense to just expose the suspensions that much. So they will be probably like just behind the wheel. As you can see here, I'm trying to add it as a sketch there, but it's not defined really. Better to keep it this way, at least for me right now, because I just wanted to explain how things might look like to myself first. If it's going to go to the client, I will definitely just refine those parts, because it's like it's like agreeable right now. It's quite sketchy. Here I'm continuing to add more parts. there was also something weird going on in the back, like the rear wheels, not the rear wheels, but the wheels in the back were looking funky, because AI does this thing, it just looks at the image, noisefies it, like adds some noise, and brings it back and during that time it just thinks like, this might be a tire, but it actually is not, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for it to be there. I really like this part in front of this BMW there, where it's like very sharp lines go inside each other, and it creates this air canals. Not the air canal, I think it's like it's a fog lights or something. It's a long distance lights. Long distance headlights. So I decided to use it like an inset to add some complexity. Over time this might change. Right now I was thinking, like, while I was doing this, I thought like, it can look cool, but still, like I said, nothing is cast in stone. Everything can be replaceable. It should be free while doing this, which actually this is the fun part. It's still loading, as you can see. Like, Vizcom was weird. Vizcom was doing a lot of shit. It's just, I think it was confused or something. Yeah, I generated 4 more images here. I was thinking like, which part can actually look cool. So I just slapped one in, because I like the robust looking body in the back. It's like a chunk of triangle, it just feels like a bold statement there, so I thought I could keep it. I'm just freaking around right now. Like, I was adding some cables and stuff, but it doesn't make sense for a car like this. Also, like, there's a lot of visual bugs that happened when I was using this Mac somehow while I was recording, so I just cannot really see some visual elements on Photoshop while I was doing this. It was extremely confusing. Just thinking about the cargo rack a little bit. Because it adds some visual interest to the silhouette. So it doesn't look that important when you think about it, but it's actually also an important part of the vehicle, because your eye can straight go there. Because there's a lot of holes and stuff, just add some complexity onto the design. When there's a lot of like sleekness going on all around the vehicle. I enabled the color match this time on Vizcom. So as you can see right now, if I slap it into the Photoshop, the colors might look slightly different. See, I generated the again because probably I thought like, okay, what the fuck is going on with those colors, But over time I liked it. Kind of got used to it, because it's actually not the colors themselves of all around the image, it's about the design, so I could still do something with it. Also, it generated like a very interesting like shape, although it's very like how can I say, like clean, sleek, but also has a very nice like line on the hood. It just has this very nice curve that I would like to keep. I also like the headlights. You might also see it in the process throughout this video that I was trying too hard to keep those headlights. Actually, one of the iterations, I kept those headlights, which was this one. I also like the cargo rack, and how I liked how it actually just was long and just creates this like a notch up there and just continues back and just cuts down like very like a rock, you know. So I like the overall silhouette there, so I want to keep it. The part at the bottom started bothering me actually in this like in this iteration. So eventually I'll start painting it out and see if I can do something else for it, because like when I think about it, it doesn't really make sense anymore for it to be there. For this one, it was also difficult for me to make this decision because it looks very like too minimalistic. Like when you think about design, it also was looking way too simple. I was so in between of like using it or not, but it was a very bold statement as well. So I decided to keep it actually for this iteration. The dry train, I mean. But still, for this iteration you see over here, I wanted to add some complexity to it. So I generated more images, and one of them had this like interesting looking like chassis, like a skeleton shape in front. So I thought I could like translate it into the shape, into the existing vehicle. So I just painted it over. I'm still going through the images that Vizcom has generated, but I could see that it was kind of like running out of options as well for me. After a while, I wanted to play around with the silhouette slight bit more, but yeah, I felt like I was twisting and turning it too much, that it kind of lost its essence. But I kept going. Eventually I said no, fuck that, I'm going to use another one. So the image that you see over here, I also generated that from one of the other silhouettes that I showed you guys in the previous video. I also liked some parts of it, especially the back part. I also liked its silhouette. So, but still, there was some stuff that I didn't like about it. So I wanted to still use the good parts. So I grabbed it and just slapped it into the Photoshop and like see what Vizcom can come up with from this photo bashing. I'm trying to put in some of the actual parts of the Vizcom image over there. Although sadly, the overlay image is kind of covering what I'm doing. Sorry about that. I'm playing around with color choices, because silhouette can work, but silhouette should also work inside the silhouette itself. It should have defined color scheme or accents or some composition going on inside. Otherwise it will not look that interesting. Also, it might go both sides. It might go either way too complex for people to understand, or it will look boring AF. So yeah, I'm currently discussing with myself if I should keep that notch or not. So in the end I decided to keep like 2 variations from it. I really like the silhouette, like the design of this one. I'll probably go with this one in the very end. Still I'm playing around with, because I mean it didn't really make sense for me to have such like black shape above, as if it's like a cockpit, you know. So I was thinking like maybe I can just make it a whole white up there, so I can make have an actual like difference between the actual body and the wheel part and the part at the bottom. So one part can be like white or like yeah, blue gray, white gray, blue, like bright blue, white color, and the bottom part can be dark gray blue. So I'm just playing around with the cargo rack a little bit. In this one I thought like maybe I can have a gradient of this white to dark gray above. I wanted to keep it, but also didn't want to, so it was kind of like hard decision for me to make. I might still use that idea and the modeling process, see if it will work out or not. It's not a make or break situation, since we already have the actual car design over here. The like overall silhouette is kind of like defined right now. We know where the wheels are going to be, we know where the how the wheels are going to be attached to the body. And how the body might actually look like overall. Not really 100% defined here yet, but still this will take us some way. We'll make a lot from this, and I'll show you guys in the next video on how I will actually translate this into 3D by using Gravity Sketch again. The next part is going to be us doing some Gravity Sketch, and then from there we will take it to Blender and start polishing from there. Either we will have to play around with the Gravity Sketch mesh, or we are going to remodel some parts. We'll see. We might also involve some Fusion 360 eventually, because of the complex mechanical parts is going around, especially in the back part, the rear axis. As you can see, the options over here, there's like 5 of them. I always go back to my previous iterations, as you can also see in the previous silhouette sketches that I made in Gravity Sketch. So I decided to do the same thing over on this one too. I wanted to grab the parts that I like in every option that I created and see how they can wipe together, and always make like a few more iteration in the very last by using such parts. So I just put them all together, and yeah, this is how we wrap this part of the process. And like those three options are the ones that I really liked. Yeah, eventually I'll make a decision on them, but still I'm not saying that this is going to be this option. I'll keep those three while I'm going to model everything in Gravity Sketch and see where we will land from there. I hope this video was quite helpful for you. I hope the process in between me doing stuff in Photoshop and using Vizcom on the other side made some sense for you, and I hope you will also use it in your process as well. So yeah, we'll see you on the next video then. Bye!